Turnbuckle Tavern's YouTube page. Today we're talking about the MLW restart after the COVID break that they've had. Before we get into that, make sure you guys click on the link in the description below, subscribe to the YouTube page, and follow it to our Twitter, Instagram, and Pro Wrestling Tees store where you can pick up one of our t-shirts. Click the bell up in the corner so you know when we're coming back at you with more videos. But now we're going to get into talking about MLW and their restart, and they're coming back.
Yeah, it looks like they have been shooting tapings. From what I've heard, they have shot 16 weeks of television, and they did it in about 2 or 3 days.
That's insane to me.
Yeah, and the location they shot at, they didn't announce it because they didn't want fans showing up with the whole COVID, and they wanted to keep it as safe as possible. So it was kind of like a undisclosed location where they were shooting. I want to say it came out though that it was in Orlando.
Okay. I never saw where it was. I never saw where they did the actual tapings.
I may be wrong about that, but yeah, I believe it was at a club called The Guilt, maybe.
Okay.
I heard, but yeah. So they shot these and they're going to be rolling these out. I've heard sometime in November, sometime soon, they're going to start rolling these out.
Well, I just saw where they re-signed with the BN Sports Network.
Right.
So they have that partnership back.
And I think they're on DAZN, the DAZN app. You can get them through. I believe they're still going to be offering their weekly TV on YouTube.
Yeah.
So
yeah, what this article says, this article here says that MLW will continue airing its flagship Major League Wrestling Fusion on Saturday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern nationwide.
Okay, yeah, that's where I always caught it, was Saturdays on YouTube. And
yeah,
I mean, I'm glad they're coming back because, we've talked about how much we've missed NWA Power, and, there's no date on them coming back. And I've really missed MLW because that kind of became something to watch. A lot of times I wouldn't catch it on Saturday nights. I would catch it Sunday morning.
Yeah.
And, you're talking about a company that has a pretty impressive roster. We're talking their heavyweight champion, Jacob Fatu, part of that Samoan dynasty. You've got Alex Hammerstone, Tom Lawler. You've got the Von Erichs as their tag champs. Davey Boy Smith Jr.'s there. Brian Pillman Jr.'s there. You even got the MMA guy, King Mo Lawal. You have Simon Gotch.
I think my question though is, do all these wrestlers stay? Does Brian Pillman Jr. stay, or what's going on with him?
Well, that's I think a big question mark right now with MLW is they've been stagnant during this entire pandemic while other companies have been rolling. So I think they've kind of been lenient by allowing people like Brian Pillman Jr. to go work on AEW and AEW Dark. But now you're seeing a lot of these wrestlers like Brian Pillman Jr., Davey Boy Smith Jr., even Mance Warner. They've all requested their release.
Yeah.
Now they've all been denied. But I guess there's a clause in the way these contracts were initially set up. I believe they listed the companies. These contracts were created before AEW existed.
Right.
So in the wording of the contract, I believe it's like you can't go work for WWE, Impact. They listed these companies. So by that company not existing, that's the loophole that's allowing a Brian Pillman Jr. to work there. That's the loophole that allowed MJF to work there.
Yeah.
So I think they're just kind of holding on to these guys now. And it has been said that Pillman and I believe Mance Warner are expected to show up on the show. I believe they did attend the tapings, so we will see them on MLW, but I look for all of those guys to leave.
Yeah, especially with how much of a push he's been getting on, or Pillman Jr. has been getting on AEW Dark. I feel like he's definitely going to be signed with them whenever he's able to do so.
Yeah, and evidently the decision makers in AEW are very high on Mance Warner as well.
Yeah.
So they're wanting to go after him. We have a video in our past video archives you guys can check out where we talk about Mance Warner coming to AEW. But you know, there's another guy who one of their top stars right now for me is the former tag team champion to MJF is Richard Holiday.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy has, you can tell that him and MJF were partners. He has a lot of the same charisma, cuts a great promo, very skilled in the ring. That's another guy I'm really looking forward to seeing back on MLW, and that's another guy that I think a lot of companies are going to try and go after. That's one of the things with MLW that they're not as accessible on a mainstream level as an AEW or an NXT or WWE or even Impact for that matter, where they're not on a major television station. So I think the thing that they're going to have to fight against, or the thing they have to worry about, I believe, is that there's these other companies that have more eyes on them are going to look at MLW as a poaching ground.
Oh yeah, that's going to be, what what better recruitment than to come in and say, hey, I can give you national television exposure on a major cable network.
Exactly. I mean,
or you can stay in MLW and do
right.
Yeah.
And with more eyes, the big thing is it's not only just eyes, but we all know with more eyes comes more money.
Exactly.
So they're not only giving you a bigger platform to get seen by the public, but with that comes a bigger contract.
Yep. But, at the same time, like once these bigger guys leave, it will leave them room to grit because there's so many indie guys out there.
Yeah.
That are good. So they can bring them in and build up, more stars. There's a lot of people that would love, there's a lot of people that aren't at the level of going to AEW, NXT that are ready to just go to MLW. So
that's the beauty of the business, I think, is all of this is like a feeder system.
Yeah.
When MLW isn't to the level of a WWE or an AEW, but you get, when those guys kind of make a name, then they feed into the bigger league, which opens up spots for newer guys to come in.
Yeah.
I love that MLW is there. I like seeing them kind of usher in this new talent. I am going to be very interested to see what talent starts getting poached from them.
Yep.
And I'm honestly surprised that the Von Erichs re-signed, because that was a team that I was like, man, you have this AEW who love tag teams. I thought AEW was going to go after the Von Erichs to have that name.
That's what, yeah. Not only do they love tag team, they also love tradition, and
right.
To have the name Von Erichs involved would be, it seems like it would be just key,
Yeah,
key fit for them.
And they're young in their career, so I think we could see them going somewhere else eventually. But
yeah,
we'll see how it all plays out.
Maybe the contract wasn't a long contract.
Right.
Never know. But yeah, I'm excited that they're coming back. Anytime there's an organization that's making a comeback, I feel like it's a good thing, especially for the, with everything that's been going on.
It's good for the wrestlers.
Good for the wrestlers, good for the wrestling fans. So, you guys leave a comment in the comment section below. Let us know who you're excited to see come back, and we'll be back at you with more videos real soon.